Well, it is Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast on the Dylan Talks Tone YouTube channel. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I hope you are having a great week. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today. You saw the thumbnail. It's going to be an interesting conversation. It's going to be a good conversation. I think I'm really excited to talk about some stuff. I got some interesting comments in the last week, and it made me think about how we do all this stuff. So we'll get into it in just a minute, and we'll chat about that in just a minute. A couple things I want to tell you first before we go is we have a couple of things I want to share with you. One, there's links below in the description, companies that support the channel, since we don't really have sponsors. So if you use the Sweetwater link down there or the StuMac link or any of that kind of stuff, that helps out the channel a bunch. We also have Patreon, patreon.com/DylanTalksTone, and also the join button down there. So that's really all it is for sponsory kind of stuff. And then one other cool thing that I wanted to tell you about is, by popular demand, this is something that we used to make a long time ago. And we talked about it a little bit on Thursday, but I've not talked about it since. Is we used to make these clear humbuckers. See if I can show you there. We used to make these clear humbuckers. And yeah, they're super cool. They look great. They sound great. Basically, what you do is you go to the website. There's a link to this product on the website. You go to the website and you pick which one of our humbuckers you want in clear. So, of course, you can figure out which one of our humbuckers you want first, and then just go to this product that has it in clear. It was easier than putting it all over the website. We're just going to put it in one spot. You can say you want an 8-ball, or you want a center punch, or you want a Super 8 or a DAF or whatever, and we'll make that pickup in that clear bobbin for you. It's probably going to be a limited run thing because I got a limited number of these bobbins. But it's going to be pretty cool. And as long as they're available, we'll try to leave them up there. And I'm going to keep telling you about them. So if that's a look that you want for your guitar, just let me know. So let's chat about this thumbnail that is some people are going to be pissed by this thumbnail because they don't have a sense of humor. Others are going to be, if you feel convicted by what I'm about to say, that's not my fault. That's on you. So, if you're offended by anything, then just relax is basically what I'm trying to tell you. I got a comment on a video, and it was basically like, I don't remember the exact words, but it was basically like, how can this guy talk about tone because he sucks as a guitar player? He's like, he can't even play. And of course, I think it's hilarious because I tell you all the time that I am way better at making you sound good than I'm at making me sound good, because that is not my focus. Being an amazing guitar player has never been my personal focus. But I got to thinking about it. I'm like, does that mean that you have to be good to be able to understand all this stuff? And then conversely on that, another thing that happens a lot, and you'll see this in social media too, where somebody will start the comment with, well, as a guitar player for 35 years, or as a recording engineer for 54 million years, or as a professional such and such, I've been playing for 37 years. I've been a guitar tech for 54 years, and I can tell you that you're holding your file a little wrong, or, whatever. And it's not just the file. It's not just the technique on how to, that's a skill that, obviously we're all getting better at. But I'm talking about, like, we also hear comments, on social media quite a bit about, like, you've seen them where it's like, well, I can hear the difference. You probably can't. Or your ears just aren't trained well enough to hear the difference, but I can hear the difference. And I am making fun of voice on purpose. There's a reason. So is all of that true? Is all of that true? And I'm going to give you some things to think about today that I've been thinking about. And you get in the comments and let me know as well. And we're just going to talk about this. Also, if you have any guitar questions, get them in the comments, in the chat over here, and I'll try to answer them live. Of course, I'm by myself when I do these podcasts on Tuesday. And also, if you use any super chats, we will drop what we're doing and we will answer them just like we are right now for Gary Redburn and his super chat. And he says, clear for a BC Rich Warlock. Which set is best? Ooh, I would go Super 8s on that one, dude. And this one is going in the bridge position of the Chameleon Geo. So just so you know, that's what that one's for, Gary, since that's your guitar. But I would say I would put Super 8s in your Warlock. That would be pretty cool. I guess the only other pickup we can't do is our Quattro, because it's a blade pickup. It has to be a conventional style humbucker. We also can't do slant 6s in it because it'd have blank holes. So, but you'll see the drop down, the ones that are available. Thank you, Gary, for the super chat also. I'm not good enough to argue about tone, but I also don't care enough about what someone else likes or doesn't like to argue with them. Just play and be happy. That is the thing, right? That is the thing. So here's what I was thinking about. And you're going to find humor in this. This is the whole point, is to just find humor in this and just talk about guitar stuff. Okay. It's not to call anybody out or anything, except for it is to call the people out that like do that all the time. Like stop and think about what you're doing. Like we're all just human beings, like wanting to play guitar. Right. But it's to do it in sort of a funny way. So here's what I was thinking about. So when I make a video, let's say like I don't know. What if we make a video that is top loader Telecaster versus string through Telecaster bridge video? We'll use that as an example. This is perfect. And we make the video, and then you go through the comments and it's like, well, you didn't strum it 100% evenly. You need to figure out a way to automate the strumming so that it's perfect every time. Or you need your environment is not controlled enough for us to be able to make a proper comparison. And what's interesting about that is, and this is what made me ask the question to myself, I'm like, who plays like that? Who is good enough to play that consistently? If all of the Tonewood videos and all of those sorts of videos like that, in all of the comments, invariably there's like somebody needs to come up with a laboratory situation where you can actually answer this question once and for all. I would put to you that, first of all, if you have to listen that hard and the tolerances are that tight, and the delta between the test cases are so close together that you have to be that controlled, then does it really make that enough of a difference to even care? Number one. And number two, now take that to the real world, put it in real application. And if we're trying to do it in a lab, if everybody says we need to do it in a lab to really get the answer to this particular, it could be Tonewood, it could be string gauges, it could be string materials, it could be, I can hear the difference between this bass plate on this humbucker and this other bass plate on this humbucker. I can hear the difference between, you can't, but I can because I'm awesome. Really? Can you play that controlled in the real world to be able to tell the difference? So why are we arguing about nobody in real life is good enough to be able to create a controlled enough environment in regular playing to be able to accurately put this data out there, apparently, because that's what all the comments say on the YouTubes. But somehow they're good enough to tell you that they can hear a difference. It's weird. So, and what's interesting about that is, so I'm not saying you're not a good guitar player. I'm not saying you don't have a good ear. I'm not saying that at all, because we all have varying, that's what I think is so neat about all this stuff is I could pick up a guitar and an amp, and the thing that I do, I could say, well, I'm going to set the amp this way and it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be the thing that I like. And then I could give it to one of you, and then you would set the amp completely differently, and it would be a thing that you like. And that's the joy of it. There's no right or wrong to it, right? But somehow when we get into testing, well, this 1013 steel or 1017 steel on this pull piece, if I swap this out to 1022, it's actually better and it sounds blah. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And yes, there are cumulative things that stack up, right? So you don't want to have, a bad nut, a bad neck joint, a rattly bridge, a loose tuner. You don't want to have all those things compounded in a guitar, because then the thing will be terrible. The other thing that brought this up was somebody in the comments last week on a video. I said in the live stream that actually I think it was in relation to Don, into Don's question about neck through versus bolt on versus glue on. And I said it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter. And here's why it doesn't matter. Because okay, let's just say this. Let's get some nomenclature correct, okay? But first, it's none of my business. I can say that because this is tea today. Let's get some nomenclature correct here. People say, does it make a difference if you do this or that? No, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't at all. The thing is that they say, does it matter? Does it matter if you change this or that, this or that? No, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. It's just a different guitar. So, is there a physical construction difference between a bolt-on neck, a glue-on neck, and a neck-through guitar? Yes. Does that change the transfer of energy between the nut and the bridge if it is glued, neck-through, or bolt? From a physics perspective, one would say yes. However, in a practical application perspective, when we're talking about at the levels, the frequencies that we're dealing with here, you could argue that it does not make a measurable enough difference to change anything but feel. And maybe that's enough. But I've seen a bunch of experiments with this. Okay, so there's that. So we could say, could it make a measurable difference between the three? Maybe if you measured it tightly enough. But in practical application, that would be questionable. Now, why this does not matter is because very rarely, if ever, are you comparing two identical guitars with two completely different construction techniques. The closest thing I can think of to that might be, what would you say? Some PRS models, maybe. Because they have some glue on and some bolt on stuff that are very similar in appointments. But it's all a perceived thing. It's not even measurable in real life. for most people. For most people. There might be somebody out there who can. But random dude in the comments who says, I've been doing this for 35 years and I can tell a difference. I mean, which one of those guitars is still on your credit card bill? That's probably the one that you're liking more right now. You know? The one that's still on your Sweetwater card that you haven't paid off yet, that's probably the one you're lobbying for the most at the moment. Let's just be real. You know? It's an interesting thing to think about. Guitars make me feel good to look at and play. I have 9. From a Gibson to a Harley Benton DIY kit. I love them all very much, and they make me happy to have and play, and I don't think about anything else. That's kind of where I'm at. I think what's interesting is I think that's kind of where I'm at. I really enjoy the guitars that I have. And I think that's why I'm trying to get away from making this content that is all this comparison stuff. Because to me, it's about, like, you don't compare these two guitars anyway. Like, you can't compare a Strat and a Tele, right? They're different scale lengths, different pickups, different pickup positions, different nodes, anti-nodes, blah, blah, blah. They're different guitars. And then the other thing I would say is, why would you? Why would you want something identical to what you already own? I don't get that. Now, if you play in a studio, this is not even true. Number one, this is not even true. I know, because I know really, really particular studio people in Nashville. And I know that they have a guitar that they use for a particular sound. But that's what they use it for. And then if they need a particular sound that's a little bit different than that, they just get a different guitar that's a little bit different than that. They don't, this whole, like, I need the wood exactly, the weight exactly, this exactly. I already have one of these and I like it, so I want the one exactly like it. What kind of variety is that? That's like, I don't know, man. That's like putting the same salt and pepper on your same mashed potatoes. If you have a Telecaster and all you care about is swamp ash with, I saw this in a Facebook group the other day, like, I'm ordering a custom shop Tele, and I was wondering what's going to sound better, a laminated fretboard or a slab fretboard? Like, build the guitar historically the way you want it. And the thing that you really want more than anything. And Fender Custom Shop will do a fantastic job of it. And it will be accurate to the historical whatever you order, whatever you tell them. It will be amazing because the Fender Custom Shop is really good. And you'll get the guitar and the resulting sound combination, which isn't that much different than a friggin' slab board. So just calm down. Will be what it is. And you will love it. And then the next time you buy a Fender Custom Shop, you go, you know, I don't have a slab board because last time I got a laminate board. I'm going to get a slab board this time just so I have both. So why are we even having the conversation of, well, which one's better? I want to make sure I make the right choice. You know, like, this is not single ply versus double ply toilet paper. That's like a thing that you can, like, for a couple of bucks, you can, like, buy them both. You can try one, not buy this, right? Like, just, and you can tell a difference. And you're always going to use it for the rest of your life because you know that single ply sucks. This is not that. You're a guitar player. You're going to want one of everything anyway. So just get one of them and then get the other one later. It's not that hard. Oh, we got another super chat. Hang on one second. Sorry, this thing wasn't scrolling by itself. We got a super chat from First Sergeant Richard. As usual, you are spot on. Peace, my friend. You are appreciated very much for your logic. Have a great day. Can't stay. We'll watch the replay. Thank you so much, Sergeant Richard. I appreciate your super chat and your thoughts. I just think it's an interesting thing to contemplate. Like, and it's what it is. I'll tell you what it is. I stopped replying to all those comments. And I a few weeks ago, probably a month ago now, and I thought, I wonder what that mentality is. Because we all do it. I mean, I do it too. We all do it. I know I'm not good enough that's why I've never made the video. I know that I haven't made the quintessential Tonewood video or the quintessential whatever video because I know I'm not good enough to do it. I know that I don't have the circumstances. I also know now that it's not logical to do it anyway. It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't really answer any question that really needs to be answered when it really comes down to it. But what I will say is, I know that I'm not good enough to do it. I know I don't have not the skills. I don't have the infrastructure, right? There are certain videos that I've always wanted to make and certain topics I've always wanted to dive into, but I don't know how to do it. I don't have the wherewithal to pull it off. So I've not done them, but I also don't get in a comment section on somebody else's video and be like, you did this wrong. This is the way you should do it. And I'm not saying that in a defense of my own content. I'm saying that because that's what we as guitar players tend to do to each other as guitar players. And I hate that. And I'm grateful that 99% of you in the comments right now, and all 35 of you that hit the like button of the 110 of you that are watching right now, are not thumbs down Frank, are not people that just get in the comments to stir up stuff, that want to actually just do things and have fun. And I hope that you spread that to other people. And it really came as a realization to me the other day that I'm like, I'm not good enough. Yeah. Okay. So it came from a whack YouTube comment, but I didn't take it as a negative. I took it as yeah, you know why I'm not good enough as a guitar player to appear like I'm some kind of expert like that? 'Cause I don't care. 'Cause I do this for fun. Well, I don't. I do it for a living. Let's get that straight. I'm good at two things: setting up guitars and making pickups. Those are the two things I'm good at, and those are the two things I will brag about because I know I'm good at it. And I'm good at teaching other people to do it too. So, pickups and guitar stuff, setup stuff. And so I'll just focus on those things. And I'll continue to get better as a player. And I'll continue to talk to you all about this and continue to be super open about it because I think there are too many people that assume that you have to be good at something to share it with others. And I personally think that that's how you learn. If you share something, there's been many times where we've done stuff and shared it with you, and then I've gone through the comments and I'm like, oh, I need to rethink that and maybe make another video, and the next time hit that from a different angle. Always learning, man. Always learning. And what's really fun is doing all these pickup winding classes. We've taught, let's see, 36 people. Let's see. Have we done 1, 2, 3, 4? That was 21. And then we did 6 and 7 is 13. So that's 34. Right? And then we've done one more. So that's 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41 people we've taught to wind pickups in the last couple of years. And what a cool thing that is. I mean, that I'm good at. That I know I'm proud of the stuff that we make here, so I'm really proud of that. But teaching other people has made me better at it too. Actually, my daughter, a couple days ago, she's like, I'd like to learn how to do it. I'm like, come on over. I'll show you how to do it. In fact, I could use some help around here because we shipped 9 orders yesterday, 9 orders the day before, 7 orders today, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 orders sitting right here to go out tomorrow. And we got to keep going because we're hammered, but it's super, super fun. So, but teaching other people is a good way to get better at something. You know what I mean? So what I've learned from all of this, and we could take some guitar questions too, because it's about halfway through here. We could take some guitar questions. So get them in the comments, and then I'll take a scroll back through and look for some of these questions. What I've learned from all of this stuff is, and thinking about this whole, nobody's really good enough to stand on any one leg and say, this is the way you should do it. So instead of doing that, what I'm talking about, there's just too much variety to it, and it's too much fun to learn a new way. So maybe when you get in a Facebook group or you get in a comment section, change your approach and just be like, this is what I'm trying to do too. Is like, this is how I do it, and it works. I don't know if it'll work for you. It might work for you. How do you do it? Because I might take, oh, I don't like that pedal that you're using, but I do like that other one that you're using, and I like how you're using it. I might take part of what you're using and use it for me and learn, and we all start to learn from each other, and it's an actual community. I think it's really neat. I think it's really, really, really cool. And I think it's funny. I laughed about this a bunch of times to myself this week as I've been thinking about this, because I've been thinking about this 4 or 5 days now. I knew today this is what we're going to talk about. Sometimes 10 minutes before these things, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, and it just pops in my head, and that's what we talk about. But this one I knew. And as I was thinking about it, I've been laughing to myself over and over. Like, yeah, nobody knows how to do this. That's why there's no real video on it. There is no best tone wood. There is no best finish. There is no best bridge. There is no best nut material. There is no best tuner type. There is no best tremolo. There is no best anything. Nothing. No best capacitor material. There is no best pot combination with a pickup. There is none of it. There's no best anything. There's none of it. You know why? Because if there was, they would all be doing the same thing. There would be one tone wood. I hate calling it tone wood. There would be one tone wood that everyone would use. There would be one tone wood. And there also wouldn't be the exploration of new materials and construction methods in 2023. And this is another thing that I want to talk to y'all about real quick before we move on. Material sciences. And I will bang on this drum until the world gets it. That nut video yesterday. Whew, there were some people on Facebook too who were like, but bone is bone, like bone. Let me ask you something. Do you know when bone became the nut material for a guitar. Do you know when that was? Let me take this super chat really quick. Oh, I guess I hit the wrong super chat button. There is no best guitar player. I agree, but it's Slash. I'm just kidding. There is no overrated guitar player either. All those phrases I think are stupid and derogatory. I don't like them. The earliest production guitar that I could find was 1590 with a bone nut in it. You know why? Because back then, they made everything out of bone. They made everything out of bone. Piano keys were ivory, right? Everything was made out of bone in 1590. It is 2023. Material sciences, I don't know if you know this or not, but material sciences in the last 30 years or so have jumped so far ahead that they make anything I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it. This is the moment for today. Material sciences in 2023 have made every material that was used in the making of the first Telecaster irrelevant and unnecessary. End of story. And when I mean construction, I don't mean like how it was put together, but you could use different material for the bolts to put it together. You wouldn't have to use wood if you don't want to. You could use a different material for the strings, and they do. You could use different materials for pickups, and they do. You could use different materials for pick guards, and they do. You could use different materials for frets, and they do. You could use all modern materials to make a 1950 Telecaster and make it sound exactly like a 1950 Telecaster. All of those materials are irrelevant. 100%. End of story. So, bone nuts are stupid. And they stink. Leslie hates it. When I used to use bone nuts, man, so when we were building a lot of guitars, we were, probably building like 3 or 4 a month for a couple of years. And I used to buy bone nuts. We used to get them from a place that sold them to another place that you buy from, but I got them from the supplier of that place. So, like above that. But I used to get them in bulk. So I used to get like these big bundles. They're probably about this many nuts. I think I bought 100 at a time, or maybe 200 at a time. And they were like a pre-cut blank, but they weren't shaped or anything. So it was just like a square block, like a long, thin square block. And what I would literally do is I would take my desk light like this, and I would hold it up in front of the light, and I would look through it. And if it had voids in it, if it had like little clear spots in it, like what we saw in that nut yesterday, if it had like little inconsistencies in it, I would throw it away. Because all the tone people say that you have to have this consistency in material. Well, guess what? Bone is the least consistent material ever. Bone is the least consistent material ever used in a nut. 100%. Because it's a sponge. Bones are sponges. So you would literally go through this whole pile of stuff, and you would look through it, and you would throw away half of 100 nuts, or maybe more, because it was just all garbage. Bones are proper for making humans. Yep. It's like milk is for cows, not people. BuzzFeed nuts are specifically not the material as much as they are the tuning, the intonation setup. It moves the G string a little bit in relation. It takes the G string and it shifts it in the scale. My McPherson has that. So the nut has a little lump in it. And then the bridge also has compensated for that as well. The difference is you can't physically tell the difference without some sort of frequency thing. The human ear can't really discern any change at most levels of these tone people purport. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And if you can't hear it, guess what? Then you can't hear it. Leslie said something to me. We were watching a Joe Bonamassa video about his new amp. And in that video, he said, I am in the habit of hearing with my eyes because he wants his gear to look a certain way. And Leslie says, that is amazing. And I said, yes, it is. She says, I bet everybody does that. And I'm like, yes, they do. You have nailed it. That is exactly what they do. And I also know that how the guitar feels in your lap is a thing. But there's a scientific reason for that, and it doesn't have anything to do with the wood, actually. Well, it has something to do with the wood, but it doesn't have anything to do with how the guitar sounds. It has to do with how it feels. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again, I'm sure, at some point. But basically, if I get this right, our middle ear, part of our middle ear senses what how do I say this? If the guitar is vibrating in our lap, so if we play a totally resonant bro guitar in our lap and it's vibrating in our lap, it is affecting what our middle ear is doing because it's actually shaking us. That's why, remember those bass shaker things you used to be able to put underneath a car seat? They didn't actually make sound. They actually were just like a vibrator in your phone. They were actually like a little motor that spun and they made vibrations based on whatever electrical signal was coming to them from the amp in the car. So they did not actually make bass in your car, but they actually shook you as if you were hearing the bass. But they would put it underneath your seat in your car so that it would shake you and you would hear bass because it would affect the middle ear, your middle ear. The guitar does exactly the same thing. So when you play a totally resonant bro guitar, it shakes you. That affects your middle ear. So then you hear the guitar differently than everyone else in the room hears it. So the tone of the instrument is not different, but you hear it as different because it's in your lap. If you hand the guitar to me across the room and you listen to it, or if you listen to it from just a speaker, you can't tell that anymore. It's only when you can feel it. It's a really interesting thing. They did this whole research with, I read a whole study on this. And I've been wanting to put it in a video, but then people are going to tell me I'm wrong and whatever. So I don't even care anymore because who cares anyways? But it's very fascinating that you can do that. Yeah, it's a pretty neat thing. A tree just fell in this forest and now I get it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, they did a thing with mice. You're going to ruin guitar sales by making us happy with what we have. Here's the thing. All your pickups suck. So just buy pickups. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that I don't want to ruin guitar sales. But what I am saying is I want you to go to the link below, click on the Sweetwater link, and go buy something that's cool. Just because it's cool. I know that there is a guitar that you've wanted to own or a piece of gear that you've wanted to own, but you have second guessed yourself out of it because you're not sure if it's good. Go buy it, play it, have fun with it, tell your friends about it. If you've always wanted to try a metal zone, go buy it. If you've always wanted an MGK Schecter, even though you don't you think it's a sucky guitar, which is a very common comment we always get, it's an amazing guitar. Go try one. Do it for fun. Do this for fun. Do all of this for fun, not because it's good. Because if it sounds good, it is good. If you like it, it's good. The end. But it's an interesting, this is so fun to talk about, you know? Yeah, go to Sweetwater in the link below and go buy something you like. Go buy something crazy. Like, I don't know, some crazy pedal that you thought you weren't sure about. Or I was always wondering if this was going to be good, but I second guessed myself because I read here you go. If there's a piece of gear that you read about in a forum and then you decided not to buy it, go buy that thing. Unless it was like an actual reliability issue. And that reliability issue was less than 6 months old. Because if the reliability issue is more than 6 months old, it's not fair anyway because they probably fixed it. So, yeah, if there's a piece of gear that somebody on some dumb Facebook group talked you out of, go buy that thing and try it. Who cares what they say? If you have to explain the cost of it to your wife, it's cool. Dude, I'll tell you something. So, we're doing taxes right now. And my job is to go through all of my receipts for the year and put them in categories. So I have a folder on my computer here. And I go through all my folder on my computer and or all of my stuff. So, and because we have that on the YouTube channel, let's just say it doesn't suck because I have that other lifestyle channel and we do reviews like on knives and stuff. All my receipts for all my knives go in there. I don't know if I spent more money on knives this year than I did on guitars. I don't know because I didn't add it up. But I did get all the invoices and put them in that folder, and I was like, I'm about to give this to Leslie so she can do our taxes. She is not going to care. She does not care at all. But it was the first time that I was like, oh, I bought a lot of knives this year. And a couple of really good guitars. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. Yep. It was kind of funny. Anyway. Kershaw and Spyderco for the win. I've only got one Kershaw. I have one Kershaw that I gave to my son. They have a new automatic out the front that I really want to. I'm probably going to buy that. I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 Spydercos. But I've been really. I got a new TTG Sunday after coming this week. Or Sunday driver. Oh, sweet. Very cool, dude. Well, that makes me happy because that Sunday driver probably has my pickups in it. So that makes me very happy. So you're going to be playing my stuff again. That's very cool. I'm going to email you after the show. Thanks, Patrick. I may get back to you later this evening because typically on Tuesdays when I'm done here at 5, then I have an agenda. Tuesdays are this, like, get up in the morning, do this thing, do this, end up here at 4:00 with you, get done at 5, jump in the shower. Like, I have a whole Tuesday as it's a crazy one. So, but yes, I will. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I will say, so somebody said something about an old Gibson. It was Leslie's idea for me to get my Les Paul. So, and I got the Slash Les Paul because she liked it. I actually wanted a gold top, but she's like, you should get the Slash one. I'm like, I will. And it is amazing. And I love that guitar. was just playing it today, actually. For the thumbnail, I needed to take that thumbnail, and I got that guitar down. I was meant to be doing something else, but I just sat there and played it for a little while. It's just a really good guitar. Really good guitar. All these Gibsons now are really good. Everything is really good. That nut was a little weird on that Fender. I was really kind of surprised by that. But, other than that guitar is really good though. So I have two American Pro 2s here, the Strat and the Tele, and they match. And they're really both very good guitars. I will say, I'm honestly, everything coming out right now is amazing. I haven't seen, now you can go on Facebook, I'm sure, and there's some ding dong saying that Gibson sucks, and there's some ding dong saying Fender sucks, and there's some ding dong saying PRS sucks. I get it. People don't like stuff, and then they really don't like stuff. They kind of get into a whatever in their own little echo chamber in their head or whatever. But the bottom line is this stuff's really good. All these new guitars are really good. It's been really fun this year trying new things. Is Dylan still on the road? No. I got a place. Nope, I got a place. I still have a motorhome, but I still do have a motorhome, but my motorhome is actually for sale. If anybody wants to buy a motorhome, let me know. You EDC a short K-bar? Holy crap. I just bought yesterday. I just ordered a half face. So that's going to be my gnarly one. 3 big things on my must-have list are my first Gibson Les Paul, a Bassman, and a high watt. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's a good list. It's funny. That's kind of where I'm at. Is go back to the essentials of like just what. Don't overthink it. Don't be one of those like, well, it needs to be this particular with, but like, a Les Paul and a Marshall style amp, right? Like I need that. I don't have a Marshall right now, but I have all this digital stuff and I don't have the room. So maybe when I get a house again, I'll probably get some big amps. But I don't know. I will tell you, I am really enjoying this digital stuff. I'm really enjoying it. Let's see. Oh, I don't mean to nag you, but how'd the hyper switch work out? On point. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't get to try it yet because it didn't fit in the guitar that I was building when I was in Colorado. And I'm not going to lie to you. The last 2 weeks, Masters Week was bonkers. And so I got back. I've been back 2 weeks or 1 week. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, you guys, we made like 60 P90s in the last 10 days. And like 30 other single coils. 40. I don't know. It's piles. We are so busy right now. So I'm doing everything I can do to keep everybody at about 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks probably on the order stuff, and have time to make videos. So here's what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. The switches, I got 2 of them. One's going to go in the Strat, one's going to go in the Tele. Another thing that's going to happen, just a little sneak peek, is there's going to be a Firebird pickup in the Tele. So that's going to be really cool. And I think we're going to do like a Nashville deal in the Tele, like a Brent Mason sort of setup, but we're going to use that Bluetooth switch in that Tele. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure. And then in the Strat, it's going to be very stock Strat setup with that switch in it and my pickups in it. So that's going to be a really cool kind of 2 ways that we're going to be able to test that stuff. enjoy and have fun with the digi stuff. You'll end up back at Car Mercury. No, I won't. I won't. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't care. I don't want to haul around that stuff. I don't want to play that loud. I have neighbors. I have a life. I don't want to spend $2,500 on an amp. I would rather buy 5 knives than an amp when I know that I can get something that sounds great for $500. I don't care. It's one of those things, like, people say that, and this kind of goes back to that whole kind of thing. Like, people say that you have to have a certain thing to sound good, and it's just not true anymore. And I don't care about it, man. I want, there's a list of guitars that I want to own, and I'm working on that list. And I will tell you right now, a Silver Sky is coming back. I miss my Silver Sky. That guitar, I'm buying another one. I actually went on Sweetwater the other day to see if they had the one I wanted, because I was literally going to buy another one the other day, but I'm putting it off. So, yeah, I mean, I will probably have, I have tube amps here. I don't use them ever. Maybe I'll buy a JTM or I'll buy a Plexi and I'll have it, but I probably will never, ever use it. And for me, that doesn't justify having it. The reason I don't buy that stuff is because I won't use it. And I don't buy stuff that I don't use. That's why guitars go. That's why I sell certain guitars, because if I don't use them, they're gone. Just kind of the way it is. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats in here. I think we had 2 so far. Yeah, 1, 2. I think I missed one last week is why. And I was just trying to make sure that that didn't happen again this week. Yeah, I'm just not a, yeah. Just wait until you get into the neural amp modeler comparison with the Tonex stuff. See, I don't care. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't care. And you shouldn't either. If you like what you have, then it doesn't matter. And if something comes out, it has to make a pretty, with the digital stuff, it's all so good. That with the digital stuff, it has to make now, well, here's what's going to happen. The incremental, it could go 2 ways. Technology could really, really jump because of what all the AI stuff is doing and all that. But the hardware has to jump in order to get really, really better. And the price on hardware, like the DSP chips, has to come down in order to put 2 or 4 of them in a unit and make it do all kind of crazy stuff. But here's the thing, what I think is going to change. And this is why I think the Tonex is a win. I'm going to talk about this on Friday because we got a video coming about it Friday, but a little sneak peek of this. The reason I think something like the Tonex is really cool is because it allows you to be in the digital world, and it allows you to play direct at a gig, and it allows you to play straight into a computer, and it allows you to do all those things, but still have a real pedal board. It's like the middle ground of that stuff. And it sounds good. There will be the Eric Johnsons of the world and all the people on Facebook who think they're as good as Eric Johnson or who think they can hear the difference, who are going to argue that stuff. But those are the people that we're talking about at the beginning of this podcast. And I don't care. I don't care. I like it. I think it's cool. Once they make a jump, that's way big jump. Like from Kemper to Quad Cortex wasn't as big a jump to me as justified spending another $1,800. I think instead of another fancy $1,800 unit that's going to get better, the better stuff is going to get cheaper, like with the Tonex. and it's going to become more accessible to everybody. And then all of a sudden, everyone is going to be able to have whatever they want for $600. That's what's going to happen. That's what I hope happens. Because right now, if you play a real amp, it's $3,000. Let's face it. If you play a tube amp, like a proper, okay, a Princeton is like 15, 18. A twin is 22. Any of the amps that were brought up earlier are close to $3,000. Plexi, all that stuff is pushing $3,000. I don't care about it. It does one thing. It's an amp that makes a sound. And if I can do a bajillion things for $500, that's what I'm going to do. And it's going to kick under my desk when I'm done. And this dude in Georgia who thinks he's going to make tubes and sell them, he's full of crap. So all that stuff, it's all whatever. Hopefully amp nerds stay around or there won't be anything to capture. Ooh, good point. That is a good point. Yeah. And, I don't not appreciate that stuff. I would love to have a room full. I mean, I watch Tone Junkie and I've talked to Jonathan about it, and I love seeing his videos with stacks and stacks of amps in the back. That's awesome. I would love to have a room full of that stuff. But the bottom line is, for most of us, it's not realistic. And it's not my business model, so I'm not going to justify it. My business model is not own a bunch of amps. So, it's just not where I go. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. You guys, it's been super fun. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out for the Just Gonna Say It podcast. This has always been a fun one for me to do since we started doing it this way. I like just hanging out with you guys and talking crap, and it's all in good fun. I know there's going to be some people that don't agree or get upset or whatever, but they just need to go have a cookie or go have some ice cream or something. And most importantly, that piece of gear that you passed on because the internet told you not to buy it, go buy it and try it for yourself. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, wait, hang on. We got a super chat. I don't want to lose this guy. 1 second. We got a super chat. From Missions, he says, brass 5/16 saddles or 1/4-inch brass saddles on a telly, and your thoughts on Nirvana nuts. Can you compensate a tusk nut? I don't care about compensating nuts, especially on a telly. I wouldn't do that. And I don't know. I don't even know what the stock size of Nirvana nuts are cool, but then you have to, that has a compensation in it, right? I don't like messing with that stuff. I like it, just put it in and just use it. And I don't think there's a lot of that stuff has a perceived value to it that makes no sense to me because there's just no reason to mess with it if it's going to add complication, if that makes sense. As far as the diameter of the saddles, I don't even remember what the stock saddle diameter is, but I wouldn't change it. I don't know. If you have a triple saddle telly, I don't know why you would change it. It's good the way it is. Cool. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow on the news.